What's going on, everybody? Welcome back. New form of content for each and every one of y'all. I didn't want to do my favorite horror film franchise ranking, but I'll start with my second. Um, if as you can see on the screen, I'm going to be talking and ranking all the Scream films. Six all the way to one. Um, I want everybody to keep in mind too. This is my ranking. My opinion is going to differ from everybody. If you're going to go into the comments, let's have a peaceful and somewhat amicable discussion. A little bit of a backstory. I am a Scream fan. Not casual. I'm more than avid. It's arguably one of my most rewatched franchises because there's not. I'm going to go ahead and preface this by saying now there is not a single bad film in this franchise. It is one of the most consistent horror franchises you will ever find. Aside from the Child's Play Chucky series franchise, this is one of the most consistent franchises you will find. And I want to preface that by saying my ranking is going to differ from a lot of people's. If you are in and around the horror community, you know the typical Scream ranking. Mine's different. I'm going to preface that now. Ghostface belongs on the Mount Rushmore of horror villains. You have your big three: Michael, Jason, Freddy. There's room for one more. There are debates galore about who is the fourth spot. You got Leatherface, you got Pinhead, you have Chucky, you have Ghostface. You now have Art the Clown and Terrifier. You have Jigsaw. And the Creeper from the Jeepers Creepers franchise. Last two movies aside. But there's so many arguments that you can make about who belongs in that fourth spot on the Mount Rushmore of horror villains. Ghostface makes an argument more than anybody. Because of Ghostface, because of the Scream franchise in of itself, hell, the first Scream movie alone saved horror in the 90s. Horror was dead, essentially, in the 90s. The big three weren't putting out movies that much, and when they were box office flops. There wasn't a revitalization of horror at the time, and then Wes Craven, who is a horror genius, a horror mastermind, gave us not one, but two of the most legendary horror icons in history, in Freddy Krueger and Ghostface. Them two alone cements him in horror icon status. Hell, with Freddy alone or with Ghostface alone. But he has two, whereas most people only have one. But you will not find a more consistent franchise out there. And with that being said, I'm going to go ahead and preface this again. This is my ranking, everybody. My ranking. Everybody's opinions are different. Everybody takes a form of media differently. Just like everybody reads a text message differently. This is my ranking. If you want, you can post your ranking in the comments below. Be sure to go ahead and like, follow, share, and subscribe to the channel. Hit the link tree in my bio for all my socials. With that being said, let's go ahead and get this done. The number 6 film, in my opinion, and like I said in the beginning, there is not a bad film in this franchise. is number 5. It was a wonderful return to form. At the time, they were... Scream was essentially put on the back burner. And then Wes Craven's death didn't help anything. This movie came back in a big way. It is a... I'm going to preface this now. It is a good film. And it all begins with the opening. Scream is known for the openings. The opening killings of each movie. And this one, it told you from the jump, Ghostface is not fucking around. He's not. He breaks Tara's leg, stabs her multiple times, and as the cops are pulling in, you can see in the background and in like on the walls and in the windows that the cops are pulling in to the driveway of Tara's house, and he's still slashing her, beating the hell out of her, and all that. And that from the opening of this film, it told you he's not messing around. And the awesome thing about this is that they got Ghostface right. In every movie, the Ghostface is done right, in my opinion. It also proved that as long as people are true to Wes Craven's vision, you don't need Wes Craven to make a Scream movie. And Radio Silence done great with their 2 Scream films. Unfortunately, we will not be getting a third one in that camp due to everything that has been going on with Scream 7. I am not going to discuss that on this channel. If you want, you can go on Google and look up Scream 7, Melissa Barrera and Jenna Ortega news, and it'll tell you everything. But if you're not big in the horror community, or if you are, you already know what's going on. It had great kills in it. I like the Judy Hicks killing. It's done in broad daylight in front of her house. The Wes Hicks knife stab through the neck, and you can see it come out of the neck and just dangle right there. No, fuck that. Nope. It gave you also a sense of we really don't need the big 3 of this franchise in it. That being Neve Campbell, Dewey, and Gale. Because you're building up a whole new universe and a whole new cast of characters to take their place. Mindy and Chad are awesome in this movie. Tara and Sam are awesome. But there's certain things about this movie that puts it at the bottom of the list for me. The main one being the Ghostface reveals. Could you see him coming? Yes, but they are done so fucking poorly. And the flip-flop with Amber, where she's trying to get people on her side, the good guys, and then she'll flip on a dime and take shots at Gale and Sydney. And the whole, I am a fan of this franchise, of the Stab franchise, so I want to make sure that they do a justice to this franchise. It takes the whole, you're not a true horror fan to the next level, in my opinion. And it's not a good reason as to why you want to fillet your girlfriend and all of her friends. It's not. And then they also go with, spoiler alert, everybody. In my opinion, Dewey did not need to die. Had he been stabbed in almost all the movies? Yes. Was he on the brink of death since the beginning of the franchise? Yes. But to follow what he had gone through in this film, you know, him and Gale getting a divorce, and then you find out that he's the reason why they aren't together because he feels like he isn't good enough for her, and she goes off to New York with him, and she has this big job, and he has nothing, and he goes into a drunken stupor. For him to go through all that and bring himself out of that funk to realize, like, hey, these people need me, so I'm gonna put all my shit on the back burner and help these kids. And then you get that awesome broken. It's Dewey's theme whenever he pops up in 2, 3, 4, and 5. It's the Broken Arrow theme song, and it is so fucking good. Only for him to get snuffed out by a 5'2", barely 110 pounds, soaking wet female killer. No. No. It didn't need to be Dewey. It could have been Gale. It could have been anybody else. But Dewey? Come on, people. And in retrospect, we'll talk about I'm mixed about it. The whole Billy Loomis ghost apparition popping up near Sam in mirrors and in rear view mirrors and shit. It's like it's awesome to see Skeet Ulrich play Billy Loomis again, but at the same time I don't know. I'm in the middle about it. Like I said, this franchise is consistent in every way, even though there are some negatives with each and every film. There's still solid 3 to 5 out of 5 films. This one just so happens to be the one that I find disheartening the most. I saw this opening night in the theater, same with another movie we're going to be talking about, and even in the theater, I was thinking, like, you're having all these hints for something, but you're not capitalizing on those hints, I should say. This film is still good. It is my number 6. It is a 3 out of 5, in my opinion. And now we will talk about the next film. Scream 6. What? The new ones are at the bottom? Yes. Yes. I know we'll give my reasoning to that whenever I hit number 1. Scream 6, for everything that it does right, it fumbles the bag in the last 15 minutes. Up until the last 15 minutes, this movie was easily going to be in my top 3. But it fumbled the bag with the killer reveals. I'll get into that in a second. Like I said, with Scream 5, every one of these movies has a opening kill. And this one, it does 2. It gives you like a bait and switch kind of thing, you know. Starts out with a awesome cameo by the great Samara Weaving. She is a film professor at the college in New York, and she gets a call from her supposed blind date. He's trying to find the damn restaurant or bar that they're supposed to meet up at. He lures her down a dark alley. Lo and behold, it's Ghostface, and he kills her. And you're expecting the title drop of Scream 6, but it doesn't do it. He pulls off the mask, and it's the guy that plays Flash Thompson in the new Spider-Man movies. And you're following him up until the college dorm, and then he gets a call from his roommate, supposed roommate, and it's Ghostface. They go back and forth about what it was like for him to kill, how he thought of her more as a piece of meat than anything. And then they play the hot and cold game, you know. as a kid, or hell, even now, hey, go down here and I'll tell you if you're hot or cold whenever you try to find something. He goes throughout the house and then he goes into the kitchen and Ghostface says, hotter. So he turns around and he starts walking towards the fridge and he keeps saying, hotter, hotter, you're on fire. And then he opens up the damn fridge and it's his roommate just being, he is dismembered in this fridge. And then Ghostface pops out and he says, I see the color red. And then he kills him and then that's when the title drops. It's a thinker of a fucking opening. Like, okay, what the hell? Great kills in this movie as well. Kills. Because one person dies in this movie. That is another thing that I'm like, what? And it's a gnarly ass kill too. Mindy's girlfriend, or FWB, whatever the hell she is, they're all climbing from one apartment complex to the other apartment complex over a ladder. Everybody gets over, and then it's the new girlfriend's turn. And as she's going across the ladder, Ghostface comes up, and he starts shaking the ladder. And mind you, they're like 3 to 4 stories up. They're pretty high up. And he shakes it one more time, and she falls off. And as she falls, she smacks her head off of a damn dumpster, snapping her neck. And you see the practical effects, like just she's fucking dead, bro. That is really the only kill we get in the movie. No, Sam's therapist. He dies. It's revealed that the Ghostface is going through the files of all the Ghostface killers, and it is also revealed that there's this stab/Ghostface shrine. And they have all the robes and the masks of every single Ghostface except for one. And it's Stu's. That leaves you to think, oh, well, he's not dead. And hell, even the dialogue that Kirby and Mindy have, by the way, Kirby's back in this movie. They go back on what's the best Friday, or what's the most underrated horror movie? They go back and forth about horror, like trivia and shit. I can't even remember the damn questions that they ask. And before that, they're sitting on the edge of the stage where the shrine is, and they're like, I think it's Kirby. Kirby says, oh, that's the TV that killed Stu Macher. And then Mindy says, if you want to believe he's dead. And that leaves you to think, okay, well, Stu is definitely coming back, but when? It leaves everything up to like, oh, damn, what the hell could have happened with Scream 7? I mentioned at the beginning that this film would have been in my top 3 had it not been for the 15 minutes because of the killer reveals. Is the reveal better in this movie? Yes. Is the excuses worse than 5? Goddamn right, yes. And not even the reveals or anything, it's everything after that. One of the killers is holding a loaded gun at Sam, and instead of firing, as she's running towards him, he throws his arm down and she tackles him, so on and so forth. Like this movie, it was so good. It was so good. There was like a couple things that I would have changed in it up until that point, but the whole fucking ending just ruined it for me. you find out that at the end of the film of Scream 5, Gail says that she's going to write a book essentially for Dewey. No, she didn't. She wrote about Sam and Tara's dumb shit that happened, capitalizing on the whole Woodsboro murders thing again. So they get pissed, and they do like the whole Scream 1, Scream 2 thing where Sydney punches Gail. Sam goes to swing, she misses, and then Tara cold cocks her ass. But it's also in the trailer, Gail gets attacked. Throughout the whole thing, like, she's running towards her closet. She finally gets in her closet. It's locked from the inside. She has a gun. Why the fuck didn't she stay in the closet? She could have just stayed in the closet. I mean, I know it's for, fucking film's sake, but come on, man. Like, no. Come on. The core four, I should say, are a lot better in this movie. The comedy works a lot better. It's just a funner movie than 5, in my opinion. Last 15 minutes is high. Hell, even the subway sequence where they're on the subway and they're trying to go to the shrine, and there's all these horror characters and everything, and then there's just a random ass ghost face just sitting there, and he starts walking towards her. Lights go out on the subway, pops back on. He's getting closer and closer, and then he just diverts off of the damn subway. Then it goes down to another one, does the same thing, and then Mindy gets fucking stabbed. That whole sequence, it was pretty cool. Scary as fuck to some people, but I enjoy this movie. It is a fun movie to watch. All these movies are fun to watch. But that is my number 5. My number 4 is Scream 4. This is why I said my ranking is going to differ from a lot of people's. Process of elimination, there is only 3 films left. Scream 3 is normally at the bottom of people's ranking. This is why I said it's my ranking. But nonetheless, we'll get out the bad things for this movie first. Number 1 is the fucking film grain that they tried and ended up using on the front lens of this camera. What in the hell? If you watch 1, 2, and 3, and then you put in Scream 4, you're going to see a major dip in camera quality. It's because of the grain that they tried to use, or ended up using. I hate it. It is the worst looking Scream movie in this fucking franchise. And then not only that, your whole franchise is insistent upon doing a kill scene. This one has fucking 3. The first 2 are openings to previous Stab movies. And whenever you get to the actual opening kill, you're still left to think, is this a fucking joke? Like, what? I have a 4.0 GPA and a 189 IQ, asshole. Like, no, I hate this opening sequence. And with that being said, we're also going to talk about the good things. And that being, up until this point, this was one of the most brutal ghost faces we got. All these movies have one thing in common. Lack of variety in kills. Simple stabs and slashes, shit like that. in one of the main kills of this movie, he guts somebody, and you actually see the guts on the bed, and the whole fucking room is a bloodbath. This at this time was the most brutal Ghostface. In my opinion, Scream 5 still has the most brutal Ghostface. It had a awesome character reveals, or killer reveals, in Charlie and Kirby, or not Kirby, shit, Charlie and Jill. I just hate the motive of Jill. I am a cousin to a very famous person, and I want that to be me. I want to be famous. No. The reveals are great. The motive is, and what also keeps this film in the middle for me is the last 10 minutes of this movie. If you would have ended the movie when Jill is getting loaded into the ambulance, you would have a 4.5 out of 5 film, in my opinion. But when they get to the hospital, Dewey's talking to Jill, and she tells him that I saw Sydney get killed. And then Dewey says, oh no, well, it's touch and go. She's in ICU right now. She's not dead. And then she mentions the matching battle scars that her and Gail have. And it's like a fucking light bulb goes off in Dewey's head. And he's like, oh no, she's a fucking killer. And then somebody gets knocked out with a bedpan. A fucking bedpan. I think it's Dewey, too. I think it's Dewey, if I remember correctly. Dewey's the person that gets hit with a fucking bedpan and knocked unconscious. Like, what? Jill ends up getting fucking defibrillators to the sides of her head, shocked as shit, and then she ends up getting shot in the head. I just hate the hospital sequence. It's funny, yes, but it is unnecessary. The Charlie and Kirby storyline, will they, won't they relationship is pretty cool. The fact that Kirby is a fucking horror nut just makes it even better. The killer reveals are in contention with me, for me, as one of the best, while also being one of the worst in motivations. And with that being said, I'm going to jump into my top 3. What's it going to be? Scream 3. I have notes written for all these points that I'm trying to make, but Scream 3, it's in my top 3. I will defend this movie to the fucking death. Me and my wife have arguments because of this movie. If you take out the fact that there's not that many kills, if you take out the fact that it's cheesy, no, it's not even cheesy. You know what? I'm going to get comfortable for this because I feel like this film gets a lot of shit. There's not that many kills. But from 1, 2 to 3, Sydney has, in my opinion, the best character arc for a final girl. Let's go down the timeline. The first one, she finds out her boyfriend is the person who's been killing everybody. And not only that, she finds out that he is the one that killed her mother. Go to 2. Fast forward a couple years later, they've not only written books about what she's gone through, they made a fucking movie about it. And then someone gets killed at the premiere of the movie. And then you find out that it's one of her friends. Again, but not only that, her ex-boyfriend's mother is the one behind the killing. Mickey, yes, sure, he's a pawn to Mrs. Loomis. He's unwanted. He's unwarranted. He's a fucking psycho. He was already on the murder websites where Mrs. Loomis found him. And then you get to this film. After all that shit. By the way, Mickey toyed with her brain. Toyed with her. Emotions. All that shit. And because she had a lack of trust in her boyfriend at that time, Mickey kills him. Add on more trauma. Add on PTSD. And then you get to number 3. She is a fucking recluse. She's shacked up in the mountains of California behind locks and gates. She changes her name when she calls into work. She doesn't go into work. She is on a fucking call-in service from 2001 to 2003 where people could work from home. And she doesn't even use her real name. She has a dog with her that's her guard dog. Her dad brings her groceries because she doesn't go out. And then only to get tracked down yet again, while also having dreams and visions of her dead mother. She gets brought out of hiding. She goes to a mansion of somebody she's never even met or seen. And it is revealed that that person is your brother from your mother's horrific rape and battery from the 70s. And her previous life when she was Rena Reynolds and not Maureen Prescott. And all your brother wanted was him to be accepted and loved by her mom. But she shut him out in the cold. And he devised a plot to get into her boyfriend's head to have her mom killed. So not only has she lost her mom, she lost her boyfriend, multiple friends, now a brother she literally just met, just found out she had, and she has to kill him. Sydney is, by all standards, the quintessential final girl. She's been going strong for almost 30 years. Over 25 years. The shit she's gone through would hurt any normal person. The reason why I love Scream 3 is because of that. It is... It has one of the best character reveals. Number one, this is the only film that has one sole Ghostface. What else? Like a Kills Aside has an awesome opening with a cameo from Liev Schreiber, who plays Cotton Weary, where he's a big talk show host now. And he ends up getting killed because Ghostface wants to know where Sydney's at. The whole Gale and Dewey storyline blossoms here. Like, it's... I'm not sure if they were actually married yet at the time. I think so, but I'm not sure. They met on the set of Scream. They got married because of Scream. And at the end of the movie, Dewey proposes to Gale with a ring inside of her book. Pulls on your heartstrings a little bit. The score, in my opinion, is the best out of the franchise in this movie. You know, the whole Sydney theme songs and everything. It's awesome. Funny ass Jay and Silent Bob cameo. Yo, Bob, that's Connie fucking Chung. Hey, Connie, how's Maury? She wants me, man. She wants me. And they only done that because Wes Craven made a cameo appearance in the Jay and Silent Bob Strike Back movie. But nonetheless, it's still funny as shit. This movie also has one of the most ironically not meant to be funny but funny moments in horror. It's when they get to the mansion, Angela's already been killed. They're going up the stairs and they're trying to find Dewey. Gail and Jennifer are. Tyson comes in, and then out of nowhere, Ghostface just fucking punches Tyson. He starts attacking people. Tyson starts fighting with Ghostface again. He ends up getting stabbed. More fighting's going on, and as he's running down the stairs, he keeps looking back, and then he sees Ghostface and goes, "Oh, you motherfucker!" It makes me laugh every fucking time. This movie gets a lot of hate. I don't understand the hate. If you want, we can have a discussion about it in the comments, but I love this fucking movie. Scream 3 is one of the best. I will defend it every day. With that being said, let's get into number 2. And that is Scream 2. Aside from the first one, which is obviously number 1, this has one of the best opening kills in horror history. I was born when this movie came out, but I wasn't, old enough to remember 98. I was born in 95. So I don't know how movie theaters were back then, but by all accounts from people I've talked to, they were like this. So imagine you get free tickets from one of your school buddies to a horror movie premiere, and your boyfriend gets killed in the bathroom. They put on your boyfriend's jacket, and you're sitting there and you're watching a movie with your supposed boyfriend, and out of nowhere you get stabbed. Everybody around you is seeing you get stabbed. There's blood flinging on the patrons in the theater, but nobody is doing anything to stop it because they think it's part of the premiere, only for you to go up on the top part of the stage near the screen and let out a blood-curdling scream because you know you're dying and nobody helped you. And then you die in front of everybody. Fucking fantastic, man. It is fucking fantastic. That whole mob mentality meta bullshit that Wes Craven done in this movie is top fucking notch. Like I said, you build up Sydney's character. She's finally got a boyfriend. She's opening up to an extent by doing theater classes, drama classes. She has her first starring role. She's trusting people more. Her best friend is a psych major. She doesn't want to go to a sorority with her, but she wants her to go with her. She trusts her boyfriend to an extent. And then you wake up one morning, and as you're getting ready to go to class, somebody tells you to turn on the news, and then you get all these memories flooded back from a couple of years ago to what happened to you. And then you talk to your best friend who secretly loves you, but it's not a secret, but it's kind of a secret, and Randy, and he just wants it to be over with. Like, he doesn't want it to be real, but you know for a fact it is real. So you need somebody to talk to, but you don't want to talk to anybody. Only for your X, well, nope. Only for somebody to come in Dewey to try to help you in any way he can. He's like your protective big brother, you know. Nothing like a funeral to bring the family together. I'm gonna go say hi. And it ups the stakes, you know. Like Randy says in, you know, the cafe whenever he's with Dewey, body count's got to be bigger. Carnage Candy. Whereas just expected. He starts to say a third rule, but Dewey cuts him off, and you never know what that third rule is. Randy is the comedic relief for the first two movies. Hell, he even has a small VHS cameo in Scream 3 that I didn't even get into, where he tells you the rules of a trilogy. All bets are off. Main cast can die. Every trilogy, you found out something about the past. If you think the past was at rest, it wasn't. And that led to the reveal that Roman is Sidney's brother. But with this one, your body count has to be bigger. More blood, carnage, candy. And he says, your core audience just expects it. And for him to... Man, I hate the fact that he died. I know the wrong person died in Scream 5, but the wrong dude died in Scream 2 as well. You know, I hate the fact that he died. He's funny as shit. You go into a witness protection program. Well, Sidney goes into a witness protection program, and on the way to go to your new safe house, Ghostface kills your fucking Secret Service guys, and you run back to the college where you are, only for it to be revealed that a friend of yours is the killer, and then he plays a mind trick on you to make you think that it's him and your boyfriend who is hung up on a fucking prop for the play because he gave you his frat letters, which I guess I didn't go to college. I've never been to a fraternity, never done anything like that. But apparently it is like a big faux pas to not give away your letters. But he done it anyways because he loves her. And she has a lack of judgment and a lack of trust in him. And it's all starting to think, oh no, maybe he is the killer, and that one little slip, he ends up dead. And some of the best fucking lines in this movie are in the end of it too, people. Poor Derek, he was going to be a doctor. He was the type of guy you could have took home to mom if you had a mom. Fuck you. So vulgar. Billy was a sick fuck who didn't want to get caught. Mickey's a sick fuck who wants to get caught. Yeah, I have the perfect motive. I'm gonna blame the movies. You're a fucking psycho, dude. And then it is revealed that your ex-boyfriend, his mom, is the person who orchestrated this whole thing. Surprise twist, huh? Didn't see it coming, did you? And the thing is, if you go into this movie blind, not knowing that, she's present multiple times in the movie. This ain't like, a surprise cameo type shit. Like, she's a reoccurring role in the movie. And you didn't even know that it was Billy's mom. She gave you no inclination as to it being Billy's mom. I mean, like, there's a subtle throwaway line. Well, I guess if the killers are repeating Woodsboro, then the killer must be from Woodsboro. That's all, type line. But you didn't think it was going to be Billy's mom. I damn sure didn't. And her motive? Just good old-fashioned revenge. You killed my son. Now I'm going to fucking kill you for killing my son. She has a knife to Sydney's throat, Cotton with a fucking loaded gun, and she ends up playing mind tricks on Cotton. This person sent you to prison for a year. If you kill her, I'll give you everything you want. Which all he wants is Diane Sawyer. He wants a Diane Sawyer interview. That's all he fucking wants. And all he has to do is shoot Sydney in the head. I mean, this movie is... These movies will make you sit there and question, like, God damn it, would I do that? I mean, it's Scream 2, man. It's one of the best Scream. All these movies are great. Like, all these movies are great. I want to reiterate that. I do not think that there is a single bad movie in this franchise. Some are just better than others. And with that being said, let's talk about the movie that gave us this fucking franchise. A movie that revitalized horror in the original Scream. I've been going for almost an hour now. I will probably go an hour and a half because of this movie. This movie is fucking a 5 out of 5 for me. There are the most subtle hints, and they are blink if you miss them references throughout this entire film for horror. I don't know if I should do what I want to do, or... Yeah, we'll do what I want to do. I'm going to go beat by beat with this movie, because there is so much to talk about with the original film. So this is practically a fucking ranking and a review for the first Scream movie. Drew Barrymore, who, if you are known, if you know who Drew Barrymore is, you know the shit that she went through as a child actress. I'm not going to just divulge anything. There are multiple YouTube videos and articles about it. Do some fucking research. She's the if you look on the picture beside of the camera that has me in it, she's the girl that's holding her mouth. She's a top billed actress, and she gets killed in the first 15 minutes. The blonde with the big tits dies in the beginning. I love the opening. The opening is the single best horror movie opening in history. Sorry, I'm trying to get the hiccups. The slow descent for Drew Barrymore's character, for Casey. You know, you answer the phone. I know as a kid, growing up in the early 2000s, it was a rule in my house whenever I was home alone, I had to answer the phone. No ifs, ands, or buts. So I know that's what it was like probably back in the 90s. You pick up the phone. Who's this? Who's this? Wrong number. And all he wants to do is talk to her. And then he hears a noise in the background. What's that noise? I'm popping popcorn. Oh, really? I only pop popcorn whenever I'm watching a movie. I'm getting ready to watch a movie. What movie are you going to watch? Oh, just something scary. Oh, really? What's your favorite scary movie? Roger L. Jackson is a fucking genius. He's a fucking genius. Mojo Jojo. He's a fucking genius. Not a lot of people know this, but he also done the voice for Mojo Jojo in the Powerpuff Girls. Just subtle nuances in his voice. He has the scariest fucking voice in horror aside from Freddy and Jigsaw. And hell, even Pinhead. I'll tear your soul apart. But anyways. To get to the point, he starts, I want to see what you look like. Why do you want to know my name? So I can see who I'm talking to. What did you say? So I can see who I'm talking to. That is not what you said. And then the whole I'll gut you like a fish shit. And playing the game on her boyfriend gets fucking filleted, disemboweled. And then, as that's going on, the smoke from the burning popcorn is filling the house. And then he jumps out the window, he starts choking her, crushes her voice box, makes it to where she can hardly speak. And there's a lot of people that say, if that was me, I would have probably threw the phone. And the entire time, she still has the phone in her hand, by the way. The entire time, he's chasing her, stabbing her, and all this shit. And there's, subtle things to this. So, she's crawling up the side of the steps. Her parents are pulling in. They're walking up the stairs to go into the front door of the house. She can't scream, and she barely gets out. There's a lot of people that say, if that was me, I would have thrown the phone. I say that. But that's never happened to you. You don't know what you would do. Your logical sense is to, hey, I would probably throw the phone. But you don't know until you get in that type of situation. And with that, she gets flipped on her back. She reaches up, clenches the mask, pulls it down, and it's in the eyes. It's in the eyes. She knows who that person is. She knows who that person is because her eyes get big. And then the entire time, knife goes down, goes back into the house. The parents are there. They're trying to find Casey. And the father says, get in the car, go to the McKenzie's, and call the police. That is a awesome flashback, or an awesome, call out to the original Halloween. And all while they're doing that, they're hearing their daughter get killed on the other end of the phone. Then the phone disconnects. The mother opens up the door. She turns around, and it's her daughter hanging from the tree. Title drop. Scream. I gave a horrible explanation to that. If you have not seen this movie, do yourself a favor and watch that fucking opening. It is amazing. And then you get your first appearance of the greatest final girl, in my opinion, in horror, Neve Campbell in Sydney. She's typing on the computer. She hears a thud outside. She goes and looks out her window. Bam! Out pops Billy. Skeeter O'Rourke. Billy, what are you doing? And she screams. Sorry. She screams, Billy, what are you doing? I just had to come see you. If you know, you know, people. It was a trick. He has to hide. Her dad opens up the door. I heard screaming. No, you didn't. Well, there's money on the table. I'll be staying at the airport Hilton. I'll call you tomorrow. She shuts the door. Billy stands up. And he goes over to the radio. And this is... this is one of the things that if you aren't a horror fan, you're not going to pick up on it. So when he goes and turns on the radio, it's very faint. And honestly, for this one part of the movie, you can turn on the subtitles. So that way you can catch it. So when he goes and clicks on the radio as he's talking to Sydney, a very soft acoustic version of Don't Fear the Reaper is playing. I didn't think about it until I got older, but whenever I first watched this movie, I didn't even know that was playing. As I got older and I started, dissecting this movie, trying to figure out who was the killer, even though you already knew type shit. But whenever I turned on the subtitles and I started hearing the Blue Oyster Cult music, I'm like, oh, that should have told you right there that he was the killer. Because it's another Halloween homage. When Annie picks up Laurie and they're driving through town, and it's either Annie or Laurie, one of them turns on the radio. The song that is playing is Don't Fear the Reaper, and then out of nowhere fucking pops Michael Myers in the car that he stole from the nurse. Just letting you know that there is an evil presence around. That should have told me, and if you didn't think about it until I just said it, it is a fucking boom, mind explosion. Mind blown type shit. All that just to try to have sex with your girlfriend. I was watching The Exorcist. It got me thinking about you. What was that? But it was on TV. All the good stuff was cut out. It went from an NC-17 all the way down to hard R. Like, all that just for your partner to be in the other room kidnapping the dad. Then you go to school, you got fucking media everywhere, cops all over the place. And then you get told by your best friend, Tatum, Casey Becker and Stephen Orris were killed last night. What? Inside's on the outside. And then she says something, Dewey's even said that they haven't seen anything like this since, well, And your first time watching it, you're like, what the fuck is she talking about? And then she even says it in the movie. She sits next to me in English class, and she looks over, and there's just an empty desk, and all the kids are getting questioned, by the cops and everything, to try to figure out who exactly killed these two high school students. And then you get one of the best sequences in the movie. Randy, Tatum, Stu, Sydney, and Billy, they're all sitting at the water fountain in like the... is it like a courtyard? Yeah, it's kind of like a courtyard at their high school. Excuse me. Excuse me. And they're all talking about the questions that they were asked, and then you hear Stu... No, it is Randy that says to Stu, hey, did they ask you if you like to hunt? Yeah. And then Tatum goes, well, why did they ask you if you like to hunt? It's because their bodies were gutted. What does that mean? It means a girl can't do that to anybody. Oh, fuck you. Females can be killers too. Basic instinct. And then Randy goes, ice pick. Not the same thing. I mean, the thing is, it takes a man to do something like that. And then a line by Sydney. Well, how do you gut someone? And then they're all just looking awkwardly. And then Stu goes, well, you take a knife and you split them from groin to sternum. Hey, it's called tact, you fuck rag. These, Billy and Stu's, like, the entire conversation that they're having on this fountain, watch Billy's eyes. When Randy says, no, Nev says, what, didn't you date Casey Becker? Yeah, for like 2 seconds. And then Randy pops out, before she dumped him for Steve. And then Tatum, who's dating Steve, looks over and says, I thought you dumped her for me. I did. He's full of shit. Are the police aware that you dated the victim? After that, he says, well, I didn't kill anybody. And then the camera pans over to Billy, and he says, nobody said you did. And his eyes got big as shit. And he goes, thanks, buddy. Hey, it's called tact, you fucker. Did you really put her liver in the mailbox? Because I heard that they found her liver in the mailbox next to her spleen and her pancreas. Liver alone. I'm not going to do the whole fucking movie. Sydney gets attacked in her house. Billy climbs up the stairs, or up the window like he did at the beginning of the movie. And he goes to hug her, and then out of nowhere, a fucking cell phone drops out of his pocket. So she starts running downstairs. And then she goes to open the door. And it's unintentionally funny again. Whenever she opens the door, it's Dewey holding the ghost face mask in front of her face, and she screams, and then Dewey goes, bah! It's unintentionally funny. But it's fucking hilarious. From that, they go to the police station. Billy gets questioned. And then Dewey's talking to his police captain. And this is where you get like another like red herring moment. It is a blink and you'll miss it type deal. As he hands him the costume package, on the top of it, it says Father Death. Giving you like, hey, it could be the father killing everybody type shit. And then Tatum is just sitting there. She's getting impatient. She's saying, come on. Well, I want to go home type shit. And then she says, oh, I'm sorry, Deputy Dewey Boy, but it's time to go. Then you get the first interaction with Sydney and Gail. Oh, and also I forgot to mention, before she was attacked, she turned on the TV. Sydney did. And you find out that her mom was killed a year ago, almost to the day. And Sydney was the person who saw the person leaving as her mom was being killed, and she told the police and everybody that it was Cotton Weary. Now, that aside, you get your first interaction with Gail and Sydney. Gail is... she's a bitch, okay? I'll call a spade a spade. She's a fucking bitch. She wrote a book about her mom's death. And she's walking out the back of the police station. Her, Dewey, and Tatum. Gail comes around the side up through the alley. And she says, oh, well, I hope your book does well. And she goes, oh, I'll send you a copy. And then Sydney just punches the fuck out of her. Bam! I'll send you a copy. Bam! Sid, super bitch. And as she's staying in the bedroom with Tatum and everything, she gets a call from the killer, which makes you think, oh, well, it's not Billy, because he's shacked up in jail. And then you get a subtle hint. Oh, it looks like you've pinged the wrong guy again. And then they go back to high school and everything. They're standing by their lockers. And this is one of the... this whole sequence is funnier than shit. because they're standing by the locker, and Sydney goes, "Well, has anybody heard from Billy?" "What, you mean after you branded him the Candyman?" "No, he's heartbroken." And then two kids start running down the fucking hallways of the high school in the Ghostface costume, and Stu is just cracking the fuck up, man. He's just smiling, dancing, and everything, and somebody says something to him and goes like, "No, man, this is fucking Christmas." And then Tatum hits him in the head with a fucking sucker and says, "Stupidity leak." And then Sydney and Billy have an interaction in the hallway. Billy says, "Oh, well, my mom left too." And Sydney says, "Oh, well, your mom left. She's not buried in a grave somewhere." And then she goes to the bathroom. Two fucking popular chicks come into the bathroom. They start bad-mouthing her, calling her a slut, and all this shit. And then she gets attacked in the bathroom. So which also makes you think, hey, this isn't Billy. And it damn sure can't be Stu, because Stu was just seen in the hallway. So who is it? I don't know. Then you get the two kids that were running up and down the hallway with a fucking Ghostface costume. They end up getting expelled. Henry Winkler practically threatens them with a pair of sharp-ass scissors. And then you get... If you know, you know. Wes Craven has a brown fedora on and a green and red sweater mopping the floor. Henry Winkler, who's the principal, comes out the door and says, "Little shits," and he goes, "What'd you call me?" "Oh, I'm sorry, Fred." Freddy Krueger. He gets killed. But prior to that, it was announced that the school is being canceled till they get everything situated. Stu comes up and says that he's having a fiesta or a party and everything. Bring snacks and shit. Then it goes to... Is it Tatum's house? Yeah, I think it's Tatum's house. Because they're on the porch, they're talking, and then she says, "Well, do you believe about my mom being a slut?" And she says, "Well, it's kind of like the Richard Gere gerbil story. You can only hear it so much before it starts to become true." And then she says, "Well, if my mom really is out there, if the killer really is out there that did kill my mom, then what am I supposed to do?" And then she says, "Oh, well, stop that, Sydney. You sound like you're in a Wes Carpenter flick or something." Wes Craven, John Carpenter. And then you get Ghostface in the hedges up in the woods. And what's funny about this next bit is after you watch the movie, you'll see for yourself that Randy got the killer not once, but twice. Randy works at a video store. He's stocking movies. Stu comes up, scares him, knocks the movies out of his hand, calls him a dork. And then they just happen to look over and see Billy standing. "Hey, if you were the only suspect in a vicious bloodbath, would you be standing in the horror section?" "What? No, they let him go." "Are you kidding me? He's got killer printed all over his forehead." This is standard horror movie stuff. Prom Night Revisited, man. And then Stu says, "Well, I think it's her pops. Why can't they find her pops, man?" "Because he's probably dead. His body be popping up in the last reel somewhere. Eyes gouged out, fingers cut off, teeth knocked out." See, the cops are always off track with this shit. They watch Prom Night, they save time. There's a formula to it. A very simple formula. Everybody's a suspect. Billy's a red herring. The dad's a red herring. Is Billy. And then as soon as he turns around, Billy's right the fuck there. And then Stu comes up and puts his hands like this on the back of his head. And is just standing there. And then Stu just whispers in his ear, "What would be your motive?" It's the millennium. Motives are incidental. Good kid. Lets him go. Millennium, man, good shit. And then he just pops over and says, "Now you're telling me that's not a killer?" We flash forward to the party, and this is the Act 3 of the entire movie. You get a kill in Tatum as Stu tells her to go downstairs into the basement and get some beers. And a kill, like, I give this movie a 5 out of 5, but this kill makes no fucking sense whatsoever. She crawls through the fucking dog/cat door of the garage door, and then Ghostface lifts it up and she gets crushed by it. No. Anyways. From there, Billy pops up because he just got done killing Tatum. Him and Sydney go upstairs. They start talking. They end up having sex. All while Randy and a bunch of high schoolers and Stu are watching Halloween. And he says, "Don't you know the rules?" "What rules?" "You don't know the rules. There are certain rules that one must abide by in order to successfully survive a horror movie. The first one, you can never have sex." Big no-no, big no-no. Number 2, you can't drink or do drugs. It's an extension of 1. It's a sin factor. And number 3, never, ever say you'll be right back. Because you won't be back. And then Stu, "Hey man, I'm going to the kitchen. You want one?" "Yeah, sure." "I'll be right back." Fucking hilarious. All the while, Gail and Dewey are off doing their thing. They end up finding Neil Prescott's car, who is Sidney Prescott's father. Because Stu stashed it there. The cameraman gets his throat slit. Sidney gets attacked. Again. Gail crashes the damn news van. And then you get the reveal. And I can only imagine this reveal in fucking 96. So after Sydney and Billy end up having sex, she asks Billy who was his one phone call. Because everybody knows in jail you get one phone call. And he says, "I tried to call my dad." She says, "No, I saw Sheriff call your dad." And he said, "Oh yeah, but whenever I called him, I didn't get an answer." And then, this is why I also want you to watch it with subtitles, because it is like a... So he crawls over the bed and says, "What do I have to do to prove to you that I'm not the killer?" And then her eyes get big and she says, "Oh God." And then from behind him, Ghostface pops up and she goes, "Oh God, Billy, watch out." And then he gets stabbed. He gets stabbed. So, after Gail crashes the van, Sydney's in Dewey's car. She's trying to call the police station to get cops up to her. Ghostface is, teasing her, toying with her. And then, before that, it's revealed that Dewey got stabbed in the back. You think he's dead. Alright, so you get into the house. She shuts the door because Randy and Stu are outside telling her that the other one is the killer type shit. And as she shuts the door, Billy falls down the stairs. They start talking back and forth, and then Billy goes over to the door, opens it up, and in pops Randy. "Stu's flipped out. He's gone mad." And then just a slow turn by Billy. "We all go a little mad sometimes." Bam! Shoots him. Anthony Perkins, Psycho. I'm not going to do the finger suck. Not going to do it. Pig's blood. Corn syrup. That's what they use for pig's blood in Gary. It is revealed that Billy is the killer. She was right all along. So she tries to run and she runs right into Stu. Surprise, Sydney. Ooh. They corral her, corner her into the kitchen. What's the matter, Sydney? You look like you've seen a ghost. Why? You hear that, Stu? I think she wants a motive. And then it is revealed as to why Billy done everything. How's this for a motive? Your mother was fucking my father, and she's the reason why my mom moved out and abandoned me. Just a subtle camera trick that goes right over to Stu, and his eyes get fucking big. Let you know that he didn't even know that was going on. Maternal abandonment causes real deviant behavior in people. Makes you have sex with a fucking psychopath. Yeah, Sydney, you gave it up. Now you're not a virgin anymore. Let's face it, Sydney, your mother was no Sharon Stone. And then it just goes off. Everybody's going to be killed. Except for me and Billy. We were left for dead. And they start stabbing each other. Billy goes too deep. And Stu goes, alright, Billy, man. I feel a little woozy here. And then he says, go over and get the gun. And the place where Stu left the gun isn't there anymore. And he just starts tapping. Houston, we have a problem here, man. What? The gun, man. The gun. I put it right here. It's not here. Where the fuck is it? It's Gail. And Billy says, I thought you killed her. I mean, I thought I did too. She still looks dead. She looks dead, man. She still does. And then she tries to shoot him and is revealed that, oh no, the safety's on. But while they were fucking with that, Sydney disappeared. Babe, you're going to want to watch this. Shit. What? And as they turn around, they realize she's not there. She's disappeared. And then Stu starts coughing up blood. Billy's like, well, where the fuck is she? Phone starts to ring. Hello? Bitch, you stupid bitch, where the fuck are you? Find her, you dipshit! Bam! Fucking hit me with a phone, dick! Stu. Billy's got a motive, but what's yours? Peer pressure. I'm far too sensitive. Did you really call the cops? Yeah, my mom and dad are gonna be so mad at me. All while Billy's throwing a fucking temper tantrum in the other room, destroying pillows, feathers are every fucking where. And then another, switcheroo type shit. While Halloween's going on in the back, it is the closet scene. Billy's walking through, and he gets to, the foyer where there's a closet and a wall. He opens up the closet. Now pops Sydney in a Ghostface costume, stabs him with an umbrella, and then a little piece of trivia. She missed the plate, and she actually stabbed him. That scream whenever he gets stabbed the first time, it's actually him screaming. Excuse me. All right. So, okay, she stabs Billy. Stu comes running out. He attacks her. Starts choking her and says, "I've always had a thing for you, Sid." She bites his thumb and it ends up breaking. She kicks him in the nuts. He falls on his back and she shoves a TV on his head. And this is why a lot of people think that Stu isn't dead. Could a TV actually kill you? We don't know. And then it is revealed that Billy's still alive. He gets shot by Gail. She says, I didn't forget the safety that time. Randy's still squirreling around. It is revealed throughout, that whole last 15 minutes that they kidnapped Sydney's dad, had him tied up and bound and gagged and shit. Randy says, I shouldn't be alive. I've never been more happy to be a virgin. And then the movie ends. No. Be careful. This is the moment where the supposedly dead killer comes back to life for one last scare. Bah! Puh! Shoots him in the head. Then Gail goes outside with a camera and a microphone and starts recounting the events of what had happened. And that's the end of the movie. I left out a lot. But this movie gave horror meaning in the 90s. From this, we got I Know What You Did Last Summer, Urban Legend, any movie that was made after 90s, any horror movie that was made after 96 follows the Scream template. I don't know. I love this movie. It is one of my most rewatched horror films. And if it wasn't for Michael, this would probably be my favorite film franchise, my favorite horror film franchise. But that's my list, man. I felt like I gave good enough reasonings for each of these movies. Like I said in the beginning and I've said throughout, I love every movie in the Scream franchise. There isn't a single bad one. Some are ranked higher than others, yes, sure, but that just comes with the nature of things. But let me know your ranking down below. Did I mess up the Scream mythos by putting Scream 3 as number 3, or can you, have a civil conversation like an adult can? Let me know. Be sure to like, follow, share, subscribe, all that good jazz. Like I said, hit that link tree in my bio. Follow me on all my socials. Take care.